Hey guys, it's Mad Dog. So today we are doing a Day of the Dead movie review of Scooby Doo and the Monster of Mexico. So pretty much the movie starts with like this dude and his kid, just playing music on the xylophone. And then the dog, Chiquita, notices something weird. And then she goes after it. But then the dad notices like his kid is missing, and then turns out there's an El Chupacabra on the loose. And then they both run, and then I guess they start like making people panic for some reason. And then pretty much it goes to the credit. It goes to the title. And then pretty much it goes to Fred saying, "You got mail." And then turns out they're like pen pals, I guess. So he wants to go to Mexico for Day of the Dead and to meet his pen pal. I mean, I don't know how safe that would be, like nowadays. But yeah. And then Fred like emails like the whole gang, and they're all in. And then Shaggy and Scooby pretty much get scared because they think Day of the Dead is like, something else. Totally. And then blah 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 blah. Shenanigans ensue. Pretty much they're on their way. And then they head to their pen pal's friend's house or something. And then they say it's like too small, and then they start like hanging out, and then like they introduce like the family and stuff, which is cute. And then Scooby finds someone he likes, Chiquita, by the way, yeah. And then pretty much, and then it starts raining, and then they like start, and then they're having like lunch, the usual. And then there's like the mysterious villain. And then blah 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 blah, pretty much business stuff. And then they go like, visit. And then they want to go like see the Day of the Dead stuff. But then, blah blah blah, they're like, oh, there's an El Chupacabra, and they're telling them like the story and stuff. And then they say like, don't go outside, and then I stay inside. And then Shaggy and Scooby get like all spooked by this story. And then blah 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 blah, pretty much. And then Shaggy like breaks the fourth wall. Like how that sounds like something out of a cartoon. And then blah 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 blah, pretty much they get scared, the usual. And then they think like Daphne's in trouble. But it was just her, music, I guess. And then I guess everyone starts freaking out, and then they find the footprints of the El Chupacabra. like outside of Scooby and Shaggy's cottage. And then blah blah blah, pretty much more shenanigans. So, the usual. And then the mystery pretty much starts. And then they start and then they tell the pen pal, his brother, about what they found, blah 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 blah. But then they say don't say anything to the girls. And then blah 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 blah, pretty much. And then they start going looking for the El Chupacabra for some reason. I don't know why they do. It seems kind of dumb. But I guess it's just Scooby Doo, so what do you expect? And then blah 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 blah. Pretty much it's chaotic. And then they all get freaked out. And then they get and then they're totally lost. And then they find a shaman or something. And then they're going crazy, and then and then they start running, and then they find each other. Then something doesn't add up, and then they go to a museum to find out about the past. And then turns out it was all a scam, pretty much like the museum was. And then Daphne gets kidnapped. Of course, as usual. As usual, nothing new about that. And then pretty much shenanigans ensue, pretty much blah blah blah. They're just sliding this trapdoor or something. And then blah 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 blah. And then they end up outside somewhere. Finds Daphne, and then then there's this statue that wasn't there before, and then turns out it was a fake. And then they get framed for something they didn't do. And then there's Paco, a magical talking parrot or something. I don't know. No, this doesn't make sense to me. And then, yep. Then shenanigans ensue. They start running, and then they go to this the other side of the temple, and then blah 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 blah. Just more shenanigans, more stupid stuff. Nothing important. And then they head back, to celebrate Day of the Dead, finally. And then Day of the Dead, and then they're just hanging out, waiting for something to happen. And then the El Chupacabra, and then there's this ghost guy who was supposedly the dad, or but then blah 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 blah, pretty much turns out it was just a dude behind a curtain, blah blah blah, and then they get arrested, and then there's another El Chupacabra. But turns out it was just Charlene this whole entire time. And then blah 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 blah. Pretty much they both get arrested. Mr. Smiley and Charlene, and then blah blah blah. And then they just And then they go, and then they just enjoy the rest of day to day, like nothing happened. And then, well, that's about it, really. And then they just, and more shenanigans. So, I think I give that movie maybe like a 3, maybe. I mean, it's not the best one, but hey, you get what you get. So, bye.